ran and operated a business other than maybe a lemonade stand or something.
Washing cars
or something small. Pops Kicks or Ask Cam or Cam?
No, I think it was something with Jay and Cam. Do you remember what it was called?
You gotta sell money to make money to buy more shoes to sell them
money.
Sell money. Sell money, everybody. You blew it. You had a great opportunity. I mean, some of the most successful people in business, have highs and lows. People have gone bankrupt. I'm Jay Peroni, certified financial planner with over 25 years of experience.
What is up, guys? Cam's Kicks here, bringing you guys another video. So this is a little bit of a different type of video, but we used to do a segment a long time ago. What was that segment called?
Pops Kicks or Ask Cam or Cam?
No, I think it was something with Jay and Cam. Do you remember what it was called?
Q&A with
Cam
and Jay.
Q&A with Cam and Jay. He's Cam. I'm Jay. How did you do it? Try to do how you used to do it.
He's Cam, I'm Jay.
All right, so we're doing an entire video like that this time instead of just doing like a little segment. We used to do that, but yeah, it's been a while. So how have things been with you? How have you been doing?
Pretty good. I have no complaints. Life is good. And it's been quite a journey for you, Cam, huh?
Yeah, and I wanted to see, we don't really have anything prepared, so this is also a little bit of a test. If you guys like this format of videos, I've been wanting to start a podcast channel for a while, so comment down below if that's something you guys want to see, a continuation of this, just doing like weekly podcasts, something like that. But yeah, like I said, this one wasn't too prepared though, but I just wanted to see like what your thoughts are on this like entire journey. Like, do you have any questions? Is there any questions that you've seen a lot of people asking that you're not really sure of, like that they've gotten an answer to? Do you have anything?
Yeah, I mean, I see a lot of people just commenting on, you blew it, you had a great opportunity. I mean, some of the most successful people in business, have highs and lows. People have gone bankrupt. People have crashed and burned many times. And that's one thing that a lot of people don't really seem to keep in mind. They're very critical of you, and you've got people that are very supportive of you as well. And it's tough, especially as a teenager who has never ran and operated a business other than maybe a lemonade stand or something.
Washing
cars or something small. But when you get this big animal that just grows beyond what any of us thought. We were launching. You launched a business in one of the toughest times. Everything was shutting down, and here you are opening up a store. No experience. You'd done obviously online. You'd done a lot of buying and selling, but never in a store format. So you learned a lot along the way, I would imagine. Tell
Definitely.
us.
Yeah, I mean, it's just been a big learning experience and honestly a blessing. Thank you guys so much for all the support, everyone who continues to support me, because I couldn't do it without you guys, truly couldn't. So yeah, it's been a crazy journey for sure. Made a lot of mistakes that I've owned up to and will continue to own up to, and just have to learn from them at the end of the day, just not repeat the same mistake. As long as you learn from it and get something from it and try to improve yourself, that's what I think is important. And it was actually kind of a blessing in disguise starting a business at that time, because people were getting crazy amounts of money from the government. Like you're someone who's in finance like yourself, like do you have more background on that? Like what was that causing the economy to do because of the stimulus and all the other like money that people were literally just getting for free, basically?
Yeah, it was kind of a free money. As a financial advisor, the Federal Reserve, which controls the money supply, here in the United States, what you saw was just record amounts of stimulus that was just flooding into the world, flooding into the economy.
People didn't know what to do with the money.
People, PPP loans, fraudulent, legitimate ones. People just getting checks to stay at home, all these unemployment benefits. Just people were just flush with cash. They were just pumping cash into the system, and you saw it get inflated, and everything from sneakers. I mean, sneakers were going crazy.
The prices were at an all-time high for even sneakers.
Yeah,
so
sneakers.
It was crazy because people just had all this money and they didn't know what to do with it. They were just spending, and then as it's starting to die down, and that's the market that we're in now. We're heading into a recession, aren't we?
Potentially, yeah. I mean, recessions aren't always a bad thing. Some of the best businesses are launched during recessions. But people get more cautious with where they spend their money, and sneakers being a luxury item, they may not be splurging on every new pair that's released, and some of the old pairs may go down for a little period of time. But with what the Fed did, just pumping all that money in, it inflated sneakers, cryptocurrencies, stocks. People were speculating on real estate. Everything has come down a bit, but it does provide a good opportunity for those who are patient, who are in the long
time holds.
Mm-hmm. It's a great opportunity, and if you can build a good business during a recession, you can build a good business that'll last any time, and that's really what I want to encourage you. I know a lot of people are giving you not criticism, but warnings, advice. Maybe you should just stay offline, online, and not.
Well, yeah. What do you think about that? So I'm gonna go with what I think is. I think it was probably a better time to start a business when I did the first time. But I was gonna ask, do you think it was a better time then, or do you think it's a better time now? Do you think it probably was a better time then?
I think it was you kind of had a number of things that kind of came together at once. A perfect storm. Everything was shut down. You were open. All the stores in New York, New Jersey weren't open. Nobody was bringing content. I mean, you weren't the first one to film transactions and interactions, but there were no sneaker shows. Mm-hmm. There were no stores.
Yeah, I remember
really
that.
Open.
It was crazy.
So people were coming from shows, 7 states over because none of the stores were open. And so you had the being in the right place at the right time. I never say there's luck. Luck is where hard work meets opportunity. That's what you did. Hard worker. You were working 19, 20-hour days.
Yeah, no, it was insane.
Editing, cleaning shoes, putting them online, Instagram, website. It was a lot of work. And
definitely.
I know Mom
hard
and
work
I
pays off. So
your brother and sisters helped out a bit, and it kind of grew faster than any of us had even thought. And growing is good, but it also creates challenges, right? If you think
with more money, it creates more problems. So.
Yeah, it does, definitely. And without you having that experience and knowing how to control cash flow, make sure you're vetting, potential investors, making sure you've got good contracts, good employees. There's a lot that you've learned. What are some of the biggest things that you've learned? So if someone's thinking of, coming out and starting a sneaker store, what would you tell them? What are 3 things maybe that you could say, don't do this, don't do that, or definitely do this, either or? What would you say?
Well, one of the most important things in businesses is that you want to do it with someone that you truly trust. So if you're looking for investors, partners, I would try to stay away from that like early on as long as possible, unless you truly need someone in it to help you with that and someone that you can truly trust. Because when you start making decisions and you have to have other people make them and they're not making the right ones for you and they're just yes men just telling you everything you want to hear, that's the type of people that aren't going to really help you succeed. You need people that can see your vision and people that want the same thing as you as like an ultimate goal, and that are going to be in it till the end and not want to just rip you off and run with your money, which has happened with many people from me. I'm not naming names or anything, but it's just the unfortunate side of doing business, and there's a lot of things that can go wrong, and you just have to really think everything through. So that's another thing, is you want to really think everything through and not just make rash decisions, which I've made many of them and they didn't pan out and led me down a bad path. And also just hard work and consistency. It sounds like so cliche, but really, like, if there's something you really want, I don't think anything's unobtainable in this world. If you put enough hard work and consistency into it, like, eventually you'll get there. Like, say you want to improve your mile time. You start off, you're running a 10-minute mile, but then you do it every single day for 2 years. Who knows how fast you can run a mile at that point? It's just, like, do you think LeBron James or Michael Jordan just started off one day and you're like, oh, I'm amazing at basketball? I'm sure they had more skill than a lot of people starting off, because a lot of people have potential, but it's what you do with that potential is the important thing. So you want to just keep working at it, keep putting in hard work, perseverance, all that stuff, and eventually it should pay off. So
yeah, I mean that's great advice, because half of it is just showing up, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you know,
If you
Michael
don't show
Jordan
up,
it wasn't
yeah.
even on his high school team, right?
Yeah,
He didn't even
yeah.
make his high school basketball team. And you know, you look at Tom Brady, you know, he wasn't even a starter in college until his senior year, and even then he you know, he had to fight a, you know, competition to become the full-time college quarterback, and he came, you know, the all-time greatest, you know, from
it's crazy.
hard work, dedication, watching film. And that's, you know, the really the thing that helped you early in the beginning was just your consistency, consistently uploading, just putting yourself out there, just documenting everything that you're doing. And I think a lot of people want to see that again as you're opening up Immaculate, your new store location in Delaware. A lot of people want to see that journey again, you know.
Yeah,
the comeback
that's something
story,
I definitely
right?
want to bring you guys.
The comeback story, you know, it's a lot of people love you when you're rising, and then when you get to the top, everybody wants to see you fall, and everybody loves a comeback story. So, you know, I know you've had highs and lows, and I'm, you know, one of your biggest fans and supporters, you know, being my son. You know, I want to see you do well. And the things I've seen just from the journey is that, you know, one of the things that really separates you from a lot of people is your drive, your motivation, your willingness to take a chance. You know, so many people.
That's the thing we were talking about. Is you said you admire about me is like that I continue to work at something even if everyone's saying no. But maybe if enough people are saying no, maybe some things I shouldn't be doing. So.
And that's where you've got to balance that.
Yeah.
Because, you know, if you're a Steve Jobs, you know, who created the iPhone, or Elon Musk with Tesla, you know, those guys can say, no, I'm not going to listen to anyone else, because they're just innovators and, you know, just, you know, diamonds in the rough, so to speak. These are people, you know, 1% of 1% of 1%, you know, very small percentage of the population is like that. So most of us, you know, we have some skills, some gifts, things like that, but we need a team. We need a team around us. And I think that's some of the biggest mistakes you made, where you didn't have a good inner circle. You know, Mom and I would give you advice, and, you know, as teenagers, I'm sure you all do this. If you're a teenager, you don't listen to Mom and Dad. Eventually, you'll listen to Mom and Dad, you know, maybe in your 20s or 30s, but we know best. We've gone through a lot of that life experience, you know, maybe not in the same business, but I've been in business for over 30 years, different businesses. I've had some fail, some that have done really well, some that have flopped.
Going to you personally, what was one of your biggest fails in business and like comebacks? So like, what was one that you
I mean, my story is similar to yours. You know, I had a great thing going, a great business that I was running, where I was getting leads. I was getting all kinds of business coming in. And
when was this?
This was back in 2001, you know, when the markets...
The year I was born.
Yeah, the year you were born. You know, I was making quite a bit of money, had a great job, and, you know, running my own business, of course, as an entrepreneur, but just had a lot of money just flowing in and leads, and it was very easy. And I thought, hey, I can get more money if I go over to this company. They'll give me an incentive to come over, a big check up front, and you know, it'll be just as good. The grass will be just as green over there. It'll be better. I'll have this big pot of money plus these opportunities. And
sounds familiar.
Yeah, it was not what it cracked up to be. And that big pot of money that I had, I ran through it very quickly, because
how did you
the income on the other side wasn't as good as I thought it was. I didn't have referrals coming in. Didn't have new customers knocking on my door.
So did someone promise you this opportunity?
Promised me an opportunity, just like you. They paid me some good money up front to come over, but when I got there, the business model was much different.
Didn't meet your expectations.
Didn't meet my expectations, and you know, I expanded too much, too far. You know, I think you learned that lesson, that, you know, maybe if you had stayed in New York and
this is something that's actually really interesting. I'm a big person that's like into, I think finances and stuff are like very interesting, and just like other entrepreneurs' stories, all that type of stuff. So one of my favorite shows has always been Shark Tank, and I just recently saw an episode where Mark Cuban gave the entrepreneurs really good advice. They didn't make a deal with any sharks. It was a cereal brand. It's like a cereal bar, and basically they had one location, and they said they were losing $8,000 a month, but they're trying to open a second location. He's like, no, you guys are doing it all wrong. You need to really put everything into your one location and make sure that that's running properly, because why would you open a second business if your first one's not operating properly? You want to get the rudimentary stuff down, the fundamentals, and then once that's flourishing and succeeding, that's when you open up another one within a few years. But you really want to have a solid foundation for the first one to start. So
yeah, that's good advice, because you think about a franchise, right? If you went into just pick a McDonald's or Chick-fil-A that you love, and you go in there and they can't fulfill orders, and there's a shortage of people in there, and they're losing money. I mean, nobody's going to want to buy that franchise, right? Nobody's going to want to expand to another location if you don't have that one as your flagship that's just killing it. And you were starting to get there with the York store, but then a lot of people started creating the same content that you were. Competition. When you have success, it brings competition. A lot of people filming in their store, filming transactions. COVID started opening back up, and
people had more stuff to do.
Stuff to do, so the views were going down, and so you got to sometimes reinvent the game or change, right? If what you're doing is not working, don't keep doing it. Find something different, experiment, and that's what I like about you. You don't give up. You persevere, you find new ways to do things, and that's why I have a lot of confidence that you're going to be successful with this new venture.
Thank you. Yeah, and one thing that a lot of people are wondering about too is, who is this mysterious other partner?
Not me.
Yeah, it's not Pop's Cakes.
I'll put that rumor to rest. I'm not the silent partner here.
Yeah, a lot of people think it is, but it's actually someone else that I've known for years, a close friend now. He's a good bit older than me, about 15 years older than me. So he's been through a lot of business, been doing business for a couple decades as well. So he's a great guy. He has a lot of knowledge, and he just wants to succeed, and wants to succeed with me, and wants nothing from me. So he wants to be behind the scenes. So he might be on the channel eventually, but don't count on it. I'm not making any promises. But what's your thoughts on him?
Very meticulous. He's been in the sneaker game for decades, knows his stuff, and runs a very conservative business. And I think that's kind of what you need. You've got some gung-ho, let's change the world, which is great to have, but you need that balance. You need someone that says, Cam, well, if you do that and you fail, what's the worst that can happen? And that's how I approach life. I always look at what's the best that can happen and what's the worst that can happen. And by looking at those two different angles, you can evaluate your decision from a full perspective. And with sneakers, with any type of business, you've always got to look at, if I'm buying this shoe, I'm buying this, whatever it is, what's the best that can happen and what's the worst that can happen? And that's how you've got to approach it. And I like the fact that he does that. A lot of his expertise is he only buys a certain type of shoe. He only looks for certain kinds of things.
And that was my issue, is at one point, and even not even that long ago, is still like, I'm so focused on making the content and just buying. But if it's not selling, and it's not selling at a profit or in a reasonable time, it's like, it doesn't make any sense. That's why you have to be more calculated and really think, is this going to sell? Am I going to be able to make this certain amount of profit on it? So that's, again, reinventing it within still doing the things that made me and sticking with my roots as well. So it's, how do you find that balance? And that's the difficult part.
Yeah, and I think it's, if you think of, what I do, which is the stock market, you could have hundreds of stocks or hundreds of shoes, but you look at the ones that are profitable, the companies that are doing well. That's what I do. And if you look at your sneaker inventory and you notice, the Jordan 1s all day long, those are selling, Dunks are popular. You look at Jordan 4s or all that, and Jordan 11s. You look at what's actually selling and what you can make profits and what has constant demand. That's what economics and what the market's all about, is supply and demand. When there's a lot of supply out
There's
there, a
too
lot
much
of
supply
resellers.
right now, and not enough demand.
Yeah, there's not enough demand, so you start looking at, okay, what is still selling? You know, what's still selling right now? And just like in the stock market, what are people still, you know, what companies are people still going to in a recession? It's food companies, it's utility companies, it's healthcare. These are things that people need in a recession. And then you look at, okay, if I only had $200 to spend, or $300 or $400, whatever that number is, and I can only buy one pair instead of 10 because the government's not giving me money anymore, where am I going to put my money? And it's, you know, it's the Jordan 1s, the Jordan 4s.
So do you think everything has a price? Like, do you think if there's a shoe that doesn't sell well, but they're like $20, $40, $50, do you think it's worth buying, or do you think that's something that I should still hold off even if it's...
Yeah, it's tough there because, you know, again, you know, you look at all the sneakers that are out there. I mean, you can go to, you know, the outlets, you can get, you know, everything from Crocs to Skechers, you know.
Crocs are actually coming back in style.
Yeah, Crocs are coming back in style.
Yeah.
Thanks, Post Malone and all these collabs that are out there, right?
Yeah, like the Yeezy foam runners and stuff that look like Crocs.
They look like Crocs, so they've come a little more acceptable. Thanks, Kanye. But, you know, stuff will come and go, and if you have good shoes that have good colorways, that are just your traditional, your OG colors and stuff, you know, the ones I bought back in the 80s, you know, my first pair of Jordans, you know, those colors and those styles are always in demand.
They're timeless.
They're timeless, yeah. So if you
That's
focus,
what you want, is timeless.
You want to focus on that sort of stuff in this hard times because, yeah, I mean, there's these offshoot shoes that, yeah, they're popular for a time, but as the market narrows and you go through this recession and people are more selective with what they buy, the prices will come down. What people are buying will come down. And eventually there'll be a boom again. So you just have to be able to...
How long do you think that'll take?
I mean, you know, you look at all this money that was infused into the system and, you know, it was record amounts. So a lot of that money has to come out of the system. It has to heal itself, and, you know, it could be a year or two. It could be, you know, I don't think we're going to have this really long, prolonged recession, but people have to get back to, you know, a normalcy, you know, especially with interest rates rising and real estate prices cooling off a bit, shoe prices cooling off, and there's booms and busts. We had the boom. We're going through a little bit of a bust here, but there'll be a boom again. And that's where you want to be able to keep it lean, focus on what's selling, what your customers want, serve them, and that's how you separate yourself.
So has this ever happened like this in the economy before, where so much money was pumped into it? When was the last time?
Last time was 08 and 09, probably, the similar, when you had the real estate crisis. Everything was about to collapse, so the government, again, you know, bailed companies out. They had all kinds of stimulus, both monetary and fiscally.
What is it called? The top companies, what is that called? You know what I'm talking about?
The blue chips, or what?
No, like the top stock companies.
I mean, those are like S&P 500.
Yeah.
Or,
oh, okay.
you know,
like
or,
the ones that part of the S&P 500.
Yeah.
Like,
just kind of your top tier stocks. You know, blue chips, or
pumping money into them, basically.
A lot of the banks. It was more the financial system. So a lot of the banks were overextended. They borrowed too much money, and they didn't have enough in reserves, so they would have gone bankrupt if everybody pulled their money out at the same time. So that created a recession back then, and you know, it lasted 18 months, a year, but it took a long time for things to get back to normal. And it could be that way with some of these shoes, but the classics, the ones that everybody wants, those are going to come back the fastest, because just like your blue chip stocks, those are your blue chip sneakers. You know, very similar.
So, like, what's one of the most expensive, like, top stocks, like, comparing this to sneakers? Because I have a reference I want to ask you about. So, like, is Tesla one of the...
Yeah, I mean, Tesla's, you know, in the, you know, top 20% of, you know, biggest companies out there. Elon
What's
Musk.
the share cost right now, probably?
I mean, you're looking at, depending on the day, $700-800, you know, somewhere around there. You know, another good one is Costco. You know, a lot of people shopping there, and hard times, you know, that's $500, $400, whatever it is at the day. So, you think of a stock, could be $700-800, or
Yeah.
a share of Costco $400-500.
So like investing in stuff, because okay, so like I've had a tougher time now selling higher end tier sneakers. So like, is it going alongside with like investing in stocks? Is it harder to invest in, like, not harder, but is it more risky to invest in like those higher price stocks compared to like the median shoes and median stocks that are constantly being cycled through? Or is that still, is it still something that a lot of people want to invest in because it's so expensive? Like, how does that work? Is it
Yeah,
different?
it's a little bit different. What ends up happening is stocks tend to split when they get to a certain price.
Yeah, and
Amazon
Tesla
just
did
did
split,
that.
right?
Yeah, they've split several times.
Yeah.
Amazon just did it.
Recently?
What happens is, recently. So maybe a few weeks ago, a month ago.
Okay.
So what happens is that, if it's $1,000 a share and someone only has $500 to invest, unless they can get a fractional share, a portion of a share, which some companies allow you to buy that, but most you have to buy a whole share. So you can't buy, if you only have 500, you can't buy $1,000 stock. So, a lot of these companies will split their stock so that.
So what happens when a company splits? Does the price go down?
The price goes down, but you get more shares. So, if they split it from 1,000 to 500, you'd have 2 shares instead of 1 share. So you had 2 at
Does
500.
that affect the valuation of the company?
It doesn't affect the valuation. It just it can create at least a short-term demand, because people that before couldn't buy it now can. I've got 500, now I can buy 1 share.
Okay.
So that's why, a lot of times, to make it more feasible for the small investor, they'll do a stock split. And you think of your shoes. If you think of a shoe that's
could you imagine if shoes did that?
$1,000, stock splits. Yeah. If you had $1,500 shoe, well, your market's more limited. You think of, obviously wealthy kids can buy it. People that are resellers may buy it, may not buy it. Stores may or may not buy it. But when you start to get higher in price, you have a smaller audience, because there are fewer people that can afford it. Yeah.
And something I've noticed too is that it's also, with the shift of the market, it's a lot harder to sell used shoes, and it's more of a risky investment, because a brand new shoe, the market's so set nowadays with like GOAT and StockX and all those apps, but like a used shoe, it's still like, yes, there's a lot of pairs on GOAT, but not every shoe has a very good used market, especially when it first drops. There's no used pairs really on the market, so it's like, it's harder to sell. Like if you needed to get some quick cash, it's like you might easily have to take a loss on that, compared to if a brand new shoe you pay retail and it's going for double retail, you can at least get a small profit on it if you need to quickly move it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I mean, when the market gets more finicky, which it's doing right now, you have, again, fewer buyers. You have people that are more, think of real estate, right? If everybody's selling their homes and nobody wants to buy it, then the buyer can say, well, I don't want this one, I want that one. The buyers are in control, and that's kind of where we're seeing the shoe market a little more. It's a buyer's market rather than the seller's market, with everybody reselling, and there just being less demand for shoes. So that's where the used shoe market gets a little trouble, because you have to look at, okay, what's the condition?
Yeah,
It
comes down to condition.
It comes down to price. Obviously, if you're willing to pay $200 for a brand new one,
why would you pay $180?
Why would you pay $180 for a used one? If the market's hot and it's hard to find the shoe, then you're willing to pay $180 for a used shoe. So again, it's when the demand is high.
So what should I do when buying used shoes, you think?
I would be more selective. I know it's hard, and people want to see you buy every shoe that's out there. Why is he passing on so many shoes? But at the end of the day, you're a business owner, and the YouTube is great for content, educating, giving people some information. But you still have to make money. It doesn't do you any good to buy hundreds of pairs of shoes.
Well, that's what a lot of people don't understand when they're like, you're lowballing and like stuff like that. It's like, if you don't make a profit, you're not going to be able to keep making the videos. It's all a big cycle.
It is. You got to sell money, to make money, to buy more shoes, to sell them,
money,
sell money, sell money, everybody.
That's a good business.
There you go.
Would you give me $1 for this dollar?
No, you got to sell shoes to create money.
Yeah.
To then have the money to then buy shoes to sell it to.
It's all about cash flow.
It is cash flow.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that I was thinking more about what we were just talking about. I think that could actually be a really good idea. Like, what if there was a marketplace where you could like split assets, like sneakers or something? Like, do you get what I'm saying or no?
Yeah, I don't remember what it's called, but I know it's where you can own like a piece of art, or you can.
Yeah.
I don't think there's sneakers
exist?
on there. I mean, the only place I could see that really applicable, and it'd be hard to implement, but if you had, you know, a $25,000 shoe like the M&Ms or something that, you know, is just ridiculous, signed by Jordan, or
you don't think if there was like a $1,000 shoe, if 4 people wanted to buy it and they're $250 each, and it goes up to $1,200, you could sell your share.
I mean, you could maybe have some sort of investment holding company. I'm sure there's some out there where everybody, you know, owns shares of sneakers. I mean, you could do it with almost anything. It definitely could be done. Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting idea.
Yeah, something to think about, I guess.
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah, so as far as talking more about the store, a lot of people have said that like they're concerned about like the traffic in the store, because they don't think it's a very good mall. It doesn't seem like there's much foot traffic. Yeah, and I don't know exactly. I mean, that is something that I've noticed slightly, that there isn't the most foot traffic in that mall compared to other malls. But I think as far as being safe and just compared to other like locations, like a standalone location or a location in the mall, I still think it's going to have better foot traffic either way, and just the security of being more safe when it's in the mall, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think too, once you build up clientele, I mean, even if people are just coming to the mall to see you.
Because if people were going to York, the middle of nowhere, a standalone location, I feel like it's going to be... Times have changed, obviously, but I still think...
you know, you'll get a fair share of people that are coming from different areas that, you know, want to interact with you, want to negotiate with you, and, you know, check the store out. And, you know, I see a very bright future for that. You know, it may be a little tough relaunching here, but I definitely think, you know, your future's bright.
Yeah, thank you. So, I don't know. I mean, we didn't really... script anything out. We don't have anything written down for this one, so I'm trying to think, is there anything else that you wanted to talk about that you can think of?
No, I just want to encourage you, and you know, if you guys like this kind of video, you know, Cam can you know, do this type of video on a regular basis. I think it can help
plan
people
it out more and come up with what we're going to talk about and stuff.
Get some questions like we used to in the old days when we did Q&A with Cam and Jay.
Yeah. Awesome. Anything else?
I think that's it, brother.
All right. So if there's one like word of advice that you could give to the audience, what would it be?
I think it would be to work hard and find something that you love and you're passionate about, and just stick with it. You know, don't give up on the dream. Surround yourself with good people that can pour into you, and have a good group of friends around you, and good advisors. You know, those are some of the things that I would say are some keys to success in not only life, but business as well.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Again, make sure to comment down below if you guys want to see some podcasts on a regular basis. I'm going to start a new channel if that's something you guys want to see, and make weekly podcasts. Definitely want to do that, so hope you guys want to see it. Make sure to like, comment, share this video. If you guys aren't already subscribed, what should they do, Pop?
They should definitely subscribe. I mean, why wouldn't they?
Yeah, well, not only should they subscribe, what should they turn on?
Post notifications.
Okay. And make sure to follow me on Instagram at Cam's Kicks Official. And where can they follow the new store page?
Would be...
Uh-oh, do you know it?
Immaculate Delaware.
Yep. Make sure to follow the new store page. New store coming to the Concord Mall. Planning on September 2022. So, I mean, obviously this year, but September, end of September, if not like the first week of October. But I'm going to do my best and put a bunch of hard work into it and try to get it open as soon as possible. So August 1st, I am moving to Delaware. I haven't started on the store yet, so I'm just gonna have to do a lot of hard work once I move there and try to get things going. So I'm excited for the next chapter. Thank you guys so much for being a part of this. Thank you guys for watching. And what kind of night should I have?
They should have a stock fastic.
Stock fastic night?
Yeah, stocks.
All right. Thank you guys for watching. Have a stock fastic night.